Yes, Senator, as we've discussed, and I've stated a couple of times today, the heroin, virtually all of it, 97% or more, comes from Mexico, and that's that's a reaction. It used to come from Afghanistan and Golden Triangle, Burma, but these cartels are unbelievably good businessmen, and
are they getting into this country fairly easily? Why?
The estimation is that to feed our demand, about 45 metric tons of heroin has to get into the market inside the United States. 45 metric tons. You'd fill this room. So why does it get in so easy? Because the cartels and the network, as we've discussed many times, are so efficient, so good at what they do. It gets in relatively small amounts, 5, 10, 15 kilos at a time, and then gets distributed. A little earlier today, Senator, we were talking about, is the southwest border secure? I would just, as I said last year and 3 previous years in your hearing, all the drugs that the demand requires gets in. Thousands and thousands of human beings get in, and all the rest of it that comes in through the network. So I would have to say that the border is, if not wide open, certainly open enough to get what the demand requires inside the country.
So we're talking about a demand, and we're also talking about a supply. And could I have a quick recitation of how you can secure the border?
I believe, I don't have a lot of experience on the border, but I would tell you, I think the men and women that are in law enforcement and homeland security and all, they would, and I visited the border, and what they would argue for is policies, this is them talking, policies that they understand and can execute, whether it's about drugs or people, and just more of an effort, whether it's technology and other ways, to search more vehicles as they cross. But really, at the end of the day, and that's a goal line stand, one day after another. I would argue, in the case of heroin, as you know, Senator, there are parts of Mexico that the Mexican authorities won't go, and that's where this drug is produced. The poppies are grown and all that. And I would just argue that we need to help the Mexicans help themselves and allow them the training and whatnot to go into those regions, because it's all is 95% of it is grown in Mexico, the poppies, and then turned into either manufactured heroin or real heroin, and then trafficked into our country. But it's the demand.